could be on shelf in a store that has thousands and thousands of locations in over 10 countries and that sees millions and millions of customers per day. That sounds amazing, right? Well, convenience store 7-Eleven gives hundreds of brands a year just that opportunity. Now, for natural brands, the convenience channel may be a little intimidating or might not be the first channel you think about, but armed with the right understanding of how to achieve success and what exactly you can expect in convenience, it's a channel that is not to be overlooked. Joining us here to share some information about 7-Eleven is Ashley Borden, Product Director of Center of Store at 7-Eleven. Ashley, come join me on stage. Thank you so much for joining us here today.
Having me.
I appreciate it.
Yeah.
So let's just start by describing what is your role at 7-Eleven.
So I'm the director of Center of Store. So my categories are confectionery, salty snacks, HABA, health and beauty aid, and packaged foods, so grocery items.
Great. And we've heard that term emerging brands a lot. A lot of brands here refer to themselves as an emerging brand. How does 7-Eleven define that product?
So emerging brands for us, for my categories, are differentiated products. We know that's what the customer's looking for. They want to try new things. Listening to these guys present was amazing and gives me some, definitely hope in the future. We actually believe in it so much, we have a team dedicated to our emerging brands. Unfortunately, she couldn't be here with me today. What they look for are brands that maybe might need a little more support getting through our business system. So that is setting items up. We are franchised, and so how do you get into our franchise locations easier? What does your store count look like? Because thousands and thousands of stores sound amazing, but quite frankly, can be really intimidating. Through that process, we talk about pack size. If you walk into our stores, it's mostly all retail, so when you don't see a back room, it's because it's very limited space. And so pack size and LDUs for us are really important.
Great. So now, there are so many retail channels for brands to enter, and it's getting even more fragmented with like in-office snacking refrigerators and subscription boxes and e-commerce. Why should brands make sure that convenience is part of the assortment of retailers that they're in?
So when you look at the consumer insights that we get, convenience isn't going anywhere for a while. We do believe drug and mass will struggle over the next few years, but we think we have some really long legs in this industry, and we have to have these emerging brands to drive us there, and we have to look at our businesses differently.
And to go into that a little bit more, why do you guys see that drug and mass may struggle? What does that look like exactly?
So the consumer's on the go. They're snacking. I heard it several times sitting in here, snacking up to 6 times a day. You want to get in and out, and you want instant consumables. That is 7-Eleven. We've got many locations across the nation. You can drive up easily, jump out of your car, go in, grab a snack, and you're eating it basically before you start your car.
That sounds pretty awesome. I've got time for that in my life. So for natural brands, they may not think of convenience as being the most healthy assortment all the time, and you certainly are competing against conventional big categories like energy drinks or soda or, cheese puffs. So does that mean that natural isn't a fit for your model? Or what excites you about natural brands? Why are you looking at this category?
So what's most exciting is because the customer that we've conventionally have had is changing. They do want this better for you. They want these natural products. They want to be able to go to their local store and pick them up and know that we can cater to their needs. It's not just the big bite customer. It's not just the Slurpee customer. We've got customers across all demographics demanding this product. So my category managers are out there, looking at all different brands all the time. In fact, hopefully they're having meetings right now in Dallas about this.
And you told me an interesting story in preparing for this about one of your top-selling products. Can you share that with the audience? I think that's so interesting.
So yeah, most people don't know this, and I might get it wrong, but we sell tens of thousands of bananas a year. It's an offer. You go into any 7-Eleven, and they're probably up at the front counter. So we have a very strong partnership they're servicing the better for you. If you go into our cold food case, you can get fresh fruit for $1, and just kind of all over the store, some opportunities in this.
And that's a really interesting benchmark that consumers are looking for these better for you snacks. They're not just going straight for the candy bar.
Right.
So maybe you eat a little of both to balance it out. So what are some challenges for natural? You touched upon the opportunities to be a natural brand. What are some challenges that natural brands might face being in 7-Eleven?
So a lot of times, natural, it's smaller businesses, these emerging brands, and what we find is sometimes the costs are a little high because you don't have the cost efficiencies down yet. The infrastructure to go from 100 stores to 1,000 stores, and then the growth upon that can sometimes be difficult. I talked about the LDU size, and then again, we're an instant consumable business. It's where the majority of my sales come from, and so what does that look like from a pack type?
And speaking about natural brands, today alone, we've heard of natural brands who say, I'm coming for candy bars, I'm coming for potato chips, granola bars. Do you see that playing out in your stores? Do you see consumers making the choice of these natural products over the conventional alternatives?
I think in some instances, yes. I still have an extremely healthy candy business, and all of the shows that we go to, we know the customer still wants candy. They still want to be able to have those indulgences. But what I think we're going to start seeing is as these emerging brands and these natural products, I think it was earlier today somebody referenced it can't taste like cardboard. That's right. Once they start correcting or fixing and enhancing their flavor profiles, yes, I do think the blurring will be there. We are seeing some blurring in other snacks. It's not just the potato chip going out the door now.
What are some other snack categories?
Oh, gosh. Any kind of mixes. We're doing a lot of the puff business is huge right now. Any kind of different types of potato chip type item. You think of all the different greens, the kale chips, Terra chips, things like that, different root-based product.
Now, you touched upon price a little bit, that can be kind of a pain point or a spot where natural brands might struggle. Are you putting premium products on shelf? Are you looking for more premium items, or is it more about adding natural products so that, maybe you get an additional item in the basket?
No, we are adding more premium products across the store, not just in my categories either, but and that does require different price points.
And how are you doing anything to convey to consumers that you have this, kind of wider assortment of price points now or things like that?
So I think it's interesting across the whole store. It's how you convey what you have to the customer. I think that my team is back there literally today working on what the sets look like to show the customer that traditionally didn't know that we had some of these items. How do they get them down the aisle and kind of show not only do we have these items, we have a really nice assortment.
And speaking to that assortment, are there any categories that maybe brands who are in the room represent that should particularly pay attention to convenience? That, this might be something that they should really be thinking about because it might even be outpacing grocery.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. Yes, so the other snacks category, which that is so generic, and I apologize for that, but just to kind of give you an idea, it's not a chip, it's not a nuts and seeds, it's not a beef jerky product. That is really where we're starting to see some of the outpacing that we talked about.
It's defined by what it's not?
It's easier to say what it's not than what it is. It's almost like a catch-all. So that category is really where we're putting a lot of focus around. That also is driving some of the assortment changes within the store and what the store looks like going forward.
Can you give some examples of products that might fall into that catch-all basket?
So you'll see some of the different popcorns. Popcorn is a big trend. We saw a lot of it in Chicago a few weeks ago. The puff category, like I said, falls under that. I'm trying to think what all the guys are working on. Any of the different types of chips, the kales, and the different root-based are some of the examples.
There's kale chips in 7-Eleven?
Believe it or not.
That's awesome. And when you refer to Chicago, you're talking about the Sweets and Snacks
Yes.
Expo. Was there anything particularly exciting you saw there that really energized you just thematically?
Still the different flavor profiles, pretty much all the different spice flavors, whether it be in confectionery or to salty snacks. You've got sweet heat to these Moroccan flavors, which it's becoming more acceptable, and these are items that customers want. They're wanting to try it. We know our customers willing to try anything, so we love going down kind of these paths of just kind of being bold with your flavors.
And this tees up my next question perfectly. So you spoke about bold flavors. Are there any other trends that you've seen brands that are succeeding in center store and 7-Eleven, or any other trends that your consumers are really excited about right now?
So right now what I'm seeing in my categories is going after these bold flavors, like I said, as well as limited time only flavors. We're starting to see, and I think it's that trial and, they want it, and then almost the demands it back. And so just that millennial that wants to spend their money on different snacking items just to try it.
What are some brands that have had recent limited time items that we should have paid attention to, or we should have rushed to the stores to pick up?
Yeah, I'll be honest with you. Some of the big brands, obviously Frito-Lay does LTO chips, but we have a nice private brand business that tries LTOs, and I'm seeing a lot of success there. And then we've also, done things with the Pocky chip that has different flavor profiles for limited time only.
Very cool. I'm one of those people who, when I see it says limited time, I have to put it in my basket, because it's also usually something pretty weird that I'm like, I have to know what a crispy chicken and waffle potato chip tastes like. Totally NOSH products all the time, by the way. So, I want to touch a little bit upon, how does a brand get on shelves in 7-Eleven? I'm sure that is the question that many brands in the audience right now want to know.
So we have a very interesting relationship with our emerging brands team. We work hand in hand together. So Marissa, who could not be here, has her own team of guys that are out there looking at emerging brands, going to NOSH, going to Sweets and Snacks, going to Expo West, where I also have a team on the ground that are looking at different items. We can't always hit everybody, and her team has, this is what they do. They go out and they seek, suppliers such as you all. Then we partner together. We talk about, where does this item live? Is it a regional type item? Is it, what part of the store does it live in? What are the costs, the retails? And then, we kind of partner with our local teams to make sure that we have a strong start to a product. And then that's what her team does, is support it, through the testing process, if you will.
And you touched upon regional versus, national. Do you have to roll out in every 7-Eleven store? How does it work that way?
So once it gets into a store, we actually have teams in each of our zones that look specifically for regional products, because we want our stores to be that local. We don't call ourselves gas stations. We are convenience stores, but we really want to be the convenience market for that area. So they want these local items. They want differentiated products. So we encourage the team to find us products. We help them through the setup process, the same type of system that the emerging brands team would use as well. And then we monitor it, and we look at what sales, are, where do we think the gaps are, what can we do to close some of the gaps. And then we take it from there and look at what a national rollout might look like from a timeline perspective.
And between the limited time offerings and this regional products, does the 7-Eleven customer like to discover new products, or do they have favorites and they go in there just looking for the one item they want?
So some do. I would say that's our older, our past, still current customer, but this new customer, this customer of the future, they are seeking out. They're looking for different products, and that's why we try to make sure we have compelling end caps set up and things that, grab your attention, because it's something different from the last time you came into the store.
And so, going back to this getting on shelves and a regional to a national sort of rollout, what does success look like? Like, how does a brand keep moving along that positive path?
So I think there's different metrics of success, right? Sales, obviously, what you all are doing to grow your brands at the same time. Where are you growing? Where are you seeing, success at other retailers or other areas of the country? But at the end of the day, we just want, the product to be successful, sell, be profitable, for our franchisees. It gets them excited, and then they really, if you go into some of our stores, they will pick out an item and sell it to you as soon as you come to the checkout.
I think what I hear brands though say sometimes is like, this was a great opportunity, and not with 7-Eleven, with any retail channel, but I went too fast, too quickly. Um, should every brand be a national brand in 7-Eleven? Should that be their goal, or are there certain brands that are just going to work better being a smaller regional sort of play?
I think there is some success when you know this is my game right here. I am in New York City, and that's where I need to be. We support that. That's that regionality that we actually like. Not all brands can go national, and I'll be real honest with you. Brands that you think probably are national aren't. And so it's something that, yes, it sounds great, and 10,000 stores sounds amazing. That's not necessarily success. That's not success for some guys, and I hate to see that happen. So we're very methodical and try to partner with suppliers on what a rollout might look like if a rollout exists. Your niche may be in upstate New York, and that's where you belong.
And that's a hard conversation for you to have with yourself as a brand, I think. But what are some things brands need to think about when they're evaluating if they're ready to go to a 7-Eleven and try to see this, be in more stores?
So I think most importantly is if you can handle the infrastructure growth. The last thing you want is to launch in 1,000 stores and you can't support it from a product perspective. I think the marketing, what you're doing to grow the business is important. So if you're successful in, our testing, we'll call it that for today, arena, let's say of 100 stores, we can use that information and we give it back out to our franchisees to say, hey, this is what it did in the test. We think that you're the next place, that it would be successful at. But then, you have to support it too and put the marketing spin behind it, the digital. I mean, if you're not spending on digital today, you will be tomorrow.
And as managing this section of the store, what would be a red flag for you in a brand where you're like, they're not ready?
Probably those cost efficiencies we
Okay.
talked about, and that's where Marissa and I would work together, is having those conversations. We've had some in our offices, and they've actually gone really well with some suppliers. They realize that, okay, we're not structured quite right for 7-Eleven or a large C-store environment, so let us go back to the table, see what we can do. And we've launched some, and we've partnered with some a few months later.
And, I want to wrap up by asking you kind of a personal question. You see so many brands every day. What makes you excited about a brand? What makes you go, oh gosh, I have to get that in 7-Eleven. That is an awesome product for our customer.
So I will tell you, and from a product director down to the category manager, it's the enthusiasm that comes with the product. And the taste, obviously, it has to have all of that. But I was getting so excited to listen to all of these, pitch slams, is that what you call them?
Yes.
That I almost didn't go get mic'd up because of their enthusiasm and their excitement around these products that they've put so much passion behind. And I think it was Joel from Kodiak Cakes said passion several times. That's what gets us excited, because you're right, we do see a lot of people every day, but when you come in our office and you're like, hey, this is it, the category managers really get excited.
Well, I've been excited to talk with you today. This has been a very enlightening conversation, I'm sure, for our brands as well. And thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.